Hello, I'm Professor Margaret Rogers Van Coops, and welcome to my show, The Truth. Every time I pick a topic, it's always going to be something to do with the current issues that are going on in this world. Right now, I'd like to talk to you about all the people who are complaining, moaning, and groaning about change. Change is upon us, whether we like it or not. What we have to understand is that time and time again, throughout the last 50 years, as soon as we thought, aha, we've got things sorted out, the next thing we realize is, no, we haven't. We've just found chaos. So what is chaos? Chaos is literally when we decide to do something, change our minds, go on a sabbatical of some way, to go out and find more people who are in some way changing like us. So we bond together, we say, this is well done, we all agree, we have the same ideas, let's start working on it. And so, of course, people are very enthusiastic and very much raring to see whatever they manifest together as becoming popular and in some way changing the world. But unfortunately, it hasn't been a positive scenario that we've been looking at. What we've been looking at is very negative situations where people blame and shame, judge and condemn, offer a new idea that is pushed away because people are in judgment and condemnation, either by themselves to themselves or by others blaming them and shaming them into disgrace. When one reacts to becoming someone who fights, in other words, to go out there and say, you are all wrong, what I'm saying is right, everything has to be done according to the book, according to my book, in other words, the way I perceive the way things should be done. Well, immediately that is heard as another form of expanded judgment, where we are saying we are being positive, we're enticing someone to come up and speak for us and do something for us on behalf of us, only to find that whatever these people are doing is parallel to only their lifestyle and the things they've encountered in their life. Of course, we all have gone through various situations where we have found ourselves angry and frustrated with our parents as young as 3 or 4 years old, to being old fogies, 90 years old, complaining that those who take care of you are not doing it according to the styles you're accustomed to. So what do we have to see here? The truth is, we really do need to take a long look at the Piscean age and see how everyone, no matter who they were in some way motivated with ambition to try and get out of their situation, to hopefully see models out there of people that you could follow and in some way adhere to the philosophy and theology of those belief systems. So a lot of us were ganging up against others. My religion is better than your religion. My skills are higher than your skills, therefore I do a better job. I have the training. I am the teacher. I am the one who says do it my way or not at all because I am the teacher. Then there are those who say I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel without a cause. I don't like living in this particular state of the Piscean age. I'm interested in the great changes that will come with the Aquarian age. And of course, when you think about those kinds of things, you have your own ideas about what the Aquarian age should be and how the Piscean age should dissolve itself and disappear into oblivion. Well, the thing is that we do not let go very easily of a past age. We have been conditioned for 3,500 years to believe that we must aspire or inspire others to want to get more, to do more, to make more, to be more, to become more, and so on, to be creative, more inventive. If we look back at the changes that the Piscean age have given us, we see loads of things, from new light bulbs to dynamic spaceships and planes and things in our fantasy or in illusion. Who knows what is really a reality? Right now we know that there are many spaceships flying around in our atmosphere. Why is it that we still say, oh, it's bullshit truth and not really something real, somebody did it in a movie, and so on? What is it about us in the Piscean age where we are unable to reflect with an open mind? Quite simply, those who wanted to go beyond the growth of the Piscean age were ostracized, told that they are too soon for this world, told that whatever they have is too dangerous for this world, told that whatever they do will amalgamate into something else and eventually be nothing at all but a waste of time. So why bother with it? Give it up, walk away, go on, do something else. Yes, I think if you reminisce about your history in this world, you will see that so often what you thought would come to pass easily turned into an issue, which when fought for becomes a very big topic of discernment into whether we believe in the change or not. So what do you believe about change? Are you saying you want some of the Piscean things to stay with you so that you can feel comfortable in the way of the old ways, the way of the Piscean consciousness? Or are you younger, ready to say, enough with the Piscean age, it's gone, it's done, I want to develop new ways in the Aquarian age, ways that will allow people to listen to one another, to sit down and discuss issues without getting angry because your point of view is not accepted. I am not politically minded, but I will point out here that any political situation, whether it is to vote for a new member in Parliament or in a conference in the States or anywhere else throughout the world, what we see is umbrage amongst the people. Why? Because the people are embracing the new age of the Aquarian aspects of what can be, but the people who represent us are still locked into trying to salvage whatever was done in the Piscean age. I say to you, the truth is, we cannot roll over the Piscean ages of doing stuff and just tinker with it and then say, okay, we've transformed, we're different now, we're in the Aquarian age, we're doing things differently. If we look at politics all over the world, we see the controlling factor. Those in power are still holding on to the Piscean age consciousness and are still justifying either their brutal things in countries where brutal things are done, or going out on the streets with plaques signing their names and what they believe, walking quietly, telling everyone we are quiet, supreme people, we want the Aquarian age, and everybody's saying, oh, that's sweet, that's nice, but what is the Aquarian age? So how can we talk about the Aquarian age when we've just started it? We've only been in the Aquarian age since the overlap of the Piscean age with the Aquarian age in 2008, which we called the shift. Everybody was excited about that, but now we have moved on, left Piscean energy behind in 2012, integrated ourselves with being aware that the Aquarian age is around us, but not really having much idea what that's about. So I thought I'd talk to you about the truth. And the truth is the Aquarian age wants nothing to do with the Piscean age. In other words, it's saying, don't think the old style ways. Don't feel the old style emotions. Don't praise and ask God in some form, shape, whatever your religion, to pad out the Piscean age to make it last longer. The ultimate thing is to understand that energy is in the source of our universe. And for all our praying and asking and motivating, stimulating certain people from the Piscean age to keep going for us and keep the Piscean age alive, we are learning that no matter what they say, those people are being pushed out, being pushed away. Whether we like it or not, we have to understand that so long as we support people from the past who are advents for the Piscean age long ago and who now are out of date, need to be pushed aside, not forgotten, but pushed aside, so that we can in some way awaken to the new consciousness of the Aquarian age. So what is the new consciousness of the Aquarian age? How do we find out about it? Well, of course, we all aspire to be with God and sit on the right-hand side of God and be angelic. But the truth is, we don't do that in the oneness. When we pass on, we arrive in what we call the Akashic records, the spiritual energy of heaven. Whatever you may want it to be, it is there for you. And in the coming of yourself, to face yourself, you see all your flaws, all your mistakes, but you also see all the good things that you've done throughout your life. And there you process everything and everyone that's come into your life in some way who may have disappointed you, hurt you, stabbed you, killed you, to just word of mouth, hurtful words, looking like staring, making expressions that you have in some way taken umbrage. Yes, you have judged and condemned those people and yourself into isolation. The Piscean age needed to come to a close in the way that it was created in the beginning. If you think about Pisces symbol, you see two fishes going in opposite directions. That sums up the Piscean age. We're all for this and that, and someone comes along and says, no, you got it all wrong. You have to go over this way and that. And of course, conflict happens, wars happen, violence happens. We reached our lowest self. We became negative. We had wars. We've had so many wars during those 3,500 years approximately. Have we learned anything? Have we asked ourselves, why do we insist on fighting, coming to blows, killing one another, when we could sit round a table and listen? So when you do listen to something, are you listening with an empty mind, without judgment? Are you listening without thoughts of your own history where you've suffered? Are you listening to what someone is saying in the future who is younger than you, who seems to have some bright ideas, but who needs some support, whether it's financial or emotional or verbal? In some way, these young children of the future are encoded with the Aquarian age, and no matter what they say and do, you will not understand the complexity of their minds, because they have come in with a different coding within their minds. Let me give you an example. A Piscean person would look out over a lake and say, how beautiful the sun is on the lake, how quiet it is and peaceful here. It sounds sensible, it sounds nice, it gives one a moment to stop and see the world, and in a brief moment appreciate that we have life on this planet. But then you walk away, you think about your dinner, what you're going to cook, whether the dog needs treatment, the babies need putting down with the story, and you go on with your life. That moment of seeing the sun on the water is shoved to the back of your mind, where you know you saw it, but you never repeat it because you're always too busy. And the years pass, and finally one day you say, I remember that lake, I remember that sun, I'd like to go there again. And maybe you do, and you reflect on your life and all that you've done, and you see that you weren't at peace, that you had many issues, and that you were last in line to say to so many people, we need change. So now we are in change. Young mothers of 25 are bringing babies, into the world who are encoded with the Aquarian age. Their soul structure coding is similar to those of those gone before. However, it's changed in its vibration. The reverberations and resonations of voice, of eyes, of body, of mouth, of expression is entirely different. Where in the Piscean age you would yell and scream at someone how bad they are, the Aquarian age members will just say, I'm leaving, I'll talk to you another day. Because they know that no matter what they say to you, you won't hear them. So what is here? The truth is, here is pay attention to the sounds around, the tones, the reverberations, the resonations, the echoes of all sounds that you hear in your life. You might go to the ocean and see it lapping, but then you might pay attention to the plastic bobbing around and hear the sounds those plastics make when they bump into one another. And you might be stimulated to collect them and put them away in the waste, where they can be transformed and put into some other great use. Plastic is known to last forever, but I have a plan and I've wanted to share it, but I can't, simply because nobody is ready to listen to me. But if you think about plastic, how it can be melted down and remolded to be used again, there's one use. But what about going outside the box? What about building a house? Instead of doing it with breeze blocks and wood, you build it with plastic, now reformed into blocks, with something special added that allows those blocks to be more solid than something that would just crumble when a storm comes. The future will see more wars, probably. We'll see more floods. We'll see the earth shift its axis. We don't know exactly what, but we must be prepared for that. And the truth is, if we do not encourage the new young children of today to grow up in the Aquarian age with Aquarian philosophy of I am that I am, and all that I am is all that I can do. And all that I can do is a part of humanizing and rebuilding our world so that we can become one nation throughout the world, the human nation, mankind. agreeable in philosophy and theology, as well as in the practical ways of technology and how it helps each one of us to live in a more comfortable situation. If we look back in history, we can see that every country battled to gain status, to be the top dog. At this time of talking, it is assumed that America is the top one. But is it? By those who have gone before us, looking at the history that they went through, one can see that they thought differently about the Piscean Age in the earlier years of that period. So if we go back 3,500 years, looking at Egyptians and Romans, we can see that their attitude to the world under the influence of Pisces was to go out and conquer. The Aquarian Age has come to an end. We no longer need to conquer other countries. We no longer need to defend other countries. What we need to do is to harmonize peace and tranquility throughout every country in the world, to say we are separate and yet whole, one nation of humans who can come together, work on building new types of technology that is not to kill one another, but to support one another, to support this world, to keep it as a globe for us to live on, enjoy peace and tranquility. This would be the ideal. However, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, the sun, has its own energy, its own way of affecting us. We've had 3 flares just recently, and they have affected our planet's weather and the way we see ourselves individually. We are in change just from a flare from the sun, a subliminal thing, something not truly understood but felt. For the brain is aware not only of all that you see in your everyday life, but it is aware of cosmic consciousness, it is aware of your psyche, it is aware of your purpose on life, it is aware of your existence, and it will do everything it can to provide you with instant understanding according to your perception. So the ultimate part of this truth in this talk is to say, change your perception. Do not look at the world as dark and awful. Do not blame and shame those who've led your country in the best styles that they know how, but rather to say, change is upon us. I embrace total change because I expect all the people of all the world to come together in unification to discuss how we can all rebuild our worlds that we live in. The world being your perspective on your world from your brain, looking out through your eyes, talking about it through your mouth, breathing the air that God has given us on this planet. If you feel in your heart, in your soul, that you are ready to contribute to the world of the future, rise up, write books, make videos, talk about what you know. Let the young ones hear you, not how it was in the past, but how you perceive the future. Give them inspiration, give them dynamics of understanding so they can choose the kinds of things they want to do. Stop forcing a child to become super educated if they're more practical. Understand practical children have the insights into rearranging things, looking at models and saying, I could reavert that into something better. I could give more from that object. While others may say, I'm more intellectual, I can write about what you do. Talk to me. Let interviews, let radio, let TV bring news to everyone of how those who are embracing the Aquarian age are doing their part to bring the peoples of the world together. Always think that you are here for as long as you can be to help as many people as you can to be able to move on with their lives. We do not mean that you sacrifice yourself, but rather say to people, here am I, a walking example of transformation into the Aquarian age, and as I live day by day in this age, I feel its change, I talk about it, I share it, and I love the change because I see new growth appearing day by day, bit by bit, that everyone in some way is doing their little bit or great bit to bring us into an awareness that the future does not depend on those who rule us now, but on those to come, who are programmed spiritually by the oneness to grow up and bring us a new world that will be better for all of us. We do not want the type of movies that we've seen, where we see the idea of Piscean age flowing into Aquarian age, making it worse than ever. No. Cast out the Piscean age. It's ended. Embrace the Aquarian age. Be curious. Ask. Learn about sound, the vibration of sound, because it will be the measure of the future. It will give us technology. It will show us how we can go into space simply by tapping into the vibrations of sound. On that note, I say to you, I am Margaret Rogers Van Coots, and if you would like a session with me, simply write to me, Dr. Margaret, Margaret, RVC for Rogers Van Coots @gmail.com. That's Dr. Margaret, RVC @gmail.com. Write in your top message, I would like counseling or a reading or healing. So thank you for listening to my show, The Truth. Take care. Be happy as always, and give love to everyone you meet.